Good morning. Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian.
I'm Lauren.
And this is the weekend workout. It's our body weight practice. We're going to invite you to play with your strength, but we'll start with a nice warm up first.
Great.
Maybe by the end, you'll be striking a pose. But we'll start with that head, neck, and rib cage idea up top, and maybe assemble your feet in a squatting or similar turned out stance. Maybe the hands across the body here, and at the head neck, we'll do our nice little chin tuck down. Then scrape across the clavicle looking towards the side, and then look up from the shoulder to the ceiling, and then from the ceiling to the center. Then pull the crown high as you return down the middle. Chin tuck, rotation the other way, look up the wall, or maybe even out the window, and then to the ceiling, and then chin down and crown high. We'll reverse that same movement. Extension meaning up first, then it's that rotation looking out to the side, and then a down the wall, scrape the chin across the clavicle, and then up or extension. When you're safely maxed out in the middle, then turn to the wall, down the wall to the shoulder, and then back into center, and then look straight ahead. And then maybe just be a little bobblehead going everywhere all at the same time. Maybe just close up that stance for a second, and with the hands facing forward now, low effort shoulder blades. Low effort elevate or shoulder blade shrug. Low effort shoulder blades forward, and then let gravity do most of the work as you reset down. Let's just repeat that up or elevating shape again, but this time add a retraction or a squeeze, and then also just more or less chill the effort on the down. A couple more each. We'll go up, spreading the blades in the back, and then letting them come down, and then up. And when we retract this time, a little bit of a crunch forward as to not flare the ribs, and then back down. Then let's step open to that nice turned out stance again. Replace the hands across the body, and the same figure eight shape through the rib cage now is what we explored with the head. It starts with a modest chin tuck and a flexion shape forward. Then from the forward shape, I'll rotate. And now I'm dipping to the back corner now. Then we'll go up and over until our sternum lines up with our belly button, and then pull back down the middle. And a small shape is okay, doesn't need to be big. Then we'll add the rotate, side bend to the back corner, a little bit of an up and over, and then just fasten those rib cages or core muscles back down. Then it's extension, so with the chin tuck gently looking down, lift up and over, then rotate, side bend to the back, a circular shape to the front, and here again we can really start pulling down on those abs to include that extension of the rib cage or T-spine, and then it's a rotation, a side bend, and a nice circle shape to the front, and pull down those abs and lift up your ribs. And then again, just kind of shake it out. One more move for me, and then we'll hand it over to Lauren here, and we're just coming back up to those shoulders, but this time instead of the blades, it's the humerus. Ha 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 ha. Terrible jokes all the time. But until then, hands towards the hips. Then make light fists with the fingers, and keeping the knuckles forward, bend or flex on the wrist. Then easy does it on the biceps curl, and then armpits down, elbows forward. Then using our clubs often in a session, we might take those elbows out to the side then. And from this place, let's extend on the elbow, and then extend on the wrist, and then extend on the fingers. Oh, that's a little bit alive today. And then bring them right back down to the hips. Let's repeat that again. So make fists with the fingers. We'll bend on the knuckles next. Easy effort on the bicep curl, and then elbows down. Then they will flare out towards the side, and keep the wrist bent as you try to extend on the elbow, and then extend on the wrist, and then the fingers, and gently let that down. And then again, strict shapes, but then fun, silly shapes too. That's a gentle upper body warm-up. How are you feeling? And then we're tossing it to Lauren here for what's next.
Let's move on to those feet first, and then we'll work our way up to the hips. At our feet, let's gently press one knee forward, one ankle forward into that demi-point or lunge foot position, and then we'll go up to two and come down on one. We'll march through this a couple times here, each time trying to push down into the floor to get as tall as you can, and those heels high, pulling away from the floor. On this next one, we'll land. We'll use our toes to point. We'll gently flex and round over the toes, keeping those hips nice and level and that standing leg squeezed. Roll back through the toes, go up, switch side, knee bend, toes bend, point toes, flex, round over, roll back over, up. Let's do that one more time each side because it feels nice to bend those toes. If you're getting that toe cramp, try to work through it as you go here. That's your muscles saying, I don't really know how to do this because you don't do it that often. So try to do it a little more, maybe when you're brushing your teeth. Come on up here. We're on the balls of our feet. We're growing up in our first tall balance, pulling our kneecaps up, bracing our core. And then we'll come down with straight knees. Our heels will land, and then our knees will bend. When we're bending this in this position, our knees are forward over our toes, but our shoulders are stacked over top of our hips. Then we'll push down into the floor and extend our hips forward. Let's repeat that again. Knees towards over toes, and then press the hips through to tall. We'll pull down again, knees towards over toes. Now stay the same height and try to find a balance on those tiptoes and hold. Try to feel or tighten up those quads and then push down into the floor to grow up and descend on nice straight legs. And we have one more. We'll go up first and then we'll bend the knees and then the heels will come down and the hips will press through all the way to tall, tall. Give that a little shake out. Next, we'll work ourselves up to those hips. So what I want you to do is turn one foot out and by foot I meant leg. So let's say that again. Turn the whole leg open, inseam forward. Turn the other whole leg open, inseam forward, and end up in that V position. Now, before we go anywhere, pretend there's a giant zipper going up your inseams and zip that up, pulling the legs together, squeezing the butt cheeks. Now, we'll transfer weight to one side. There'll be a shift, but not a lean. So transfer weight onto a single leg, point the other leg out to the front. If you need a balance aid, you could hold onto that chair or countertop at your side. Once you have that pointed leg out front, let's anchor the toe to the floor and around that toe, rotate in. I like to anchor that toe because typically if we do that, then we're not doing this from our ankle, but we're doing it from our hip as we rotate back open. Let's do one more time, turn in or hide that inseam, internal rotation, and last time, external rotation. Then send that leg to the side, hips push forward. Once it's at the side, toes down, turn in on the leg, hiding the inseam, turn open. One last time, turn in, turn open, and now with a nice straight leg, pull the leg back underneath. We'll take the leg from let's go back to the front, to the front. This time, let's keep the inseam forward and draw a full circle to the side, to the back, through center, knee straight, point to the front, back underneath you, one time to the back, point to the back, reach around the corner, hips stay forward, inseam stays forward to the front, and then straight leg underneath. We'll transfer and shift weight to the other side. Squeeze that timbit, make that butt cheek nice and tight as we point the other leg to the front. Toes down. Turn in on the leg. Turn open on the leg. Turn in again, hiding that inseam, but keeping your bowl of punch hips level. Turn open. Send the leg to the side. Hips are forward. Once the leg is there, again, turn in on the femur. Rotate it open from the cheek. Then from there, bring the heels together with a straight knee. Point to the front. No bending your knee. Draw the circle to the side. Continue around the back. Pass through center. Heel leads underneath you. Knee stays straight. Point to the front. And then through center to the back. Hips stay forward. Lock in a key as this leg turns around the socket all the way to the front. And then return the leg underneath. One more thing here, let's bend our knees now, just as we did in the parallel position, but creating that diamond shape, still stacked, shoulders on top of hips. Then push down into the floor, zip up your zipper. Repeat again, pull yourself down, press up to tall. Press so much this time you find a balance. Then heels will land, knees will bend. Peel the heels up. Push up out of this with nice straight legs. Hold the balance. Slow down. We have one more. We'll reverse it. We'll go up first. Then we'll bend our knees. Then we'll push our heels down to the floor and push down to stand up. Oh, give that a little shake. Feet, check. Hips, check. Upper, check.
There's just this other thing in the middle, namely that core that we haven't...
Thorax.
Right, that we haven't really gotten in touch with, but you have because you didn't fall over, so you're using your core to help that coordination balance. Often in this practice, we use that toe squat series, so Lauren's warmed up those hips and ankles. Let's use it to get to the floor. It's the knees over toes. Then to get lower, the heels lift, we get crouchy. And with the hands, or without, we can extend those hips through in a tall kneel position, and then just get the spacing right. We're working on core from a plank position. Let's do a really quick wrist warm up first. Fingers touch, calluses next, full hands gripping the floor. The blood donation is facing forward, and those armpits or lats are being pulled down to your hips. In this position, I like doing that first knuckle push-up, so keeping the arms straight. Press heavy energy into the fingers and that callus line, or the metacarpal heads of the floor, your knuckle heads. And for a couple again, just increase that strength of the wrist and the control as we emphasize this position now and how it'll show up in your plank later. Do one or two more here. And on the last one, do it so much that you flick the floor away and you push your hips through. And again, high tension, and then enjoy a nice little shake. Let's just turn the wrists around now into the extension with the fingertips facing the knees, and still land fingertips, callus lines, and then full hands. Slowly in the elbows and amplify that tension, pressing your fingertips into the floor. Then push your fingertips to your knees, and that might make you lean away from your feet. Then if you push heavy into the palms of the hands, you'll probably sink your bum back like a child's pose. Then from that deep position, press your fingertips towards the knees, which means you should kind of lean forward. And if you get heavy on the heels of the hands or the palms, you'll sit back again. And now I can't really do this as well, but I'm trying to bend my elbows. Then I'll bend my elbows and I'll flick the floor away, and can be asked to sit in this nice deep knee flexion position like Lauren is, and the nice little size to sit down here. It's optional, but place your hands on your bum cheeks and just squeeze them. Squeeze them. Can you feel those glutes work? Excuse me. Use those big glute max in the back to extend your hips all the way back up to tall. One more little wrist thing. Make fists with two. Then land on those peace sign digits, being index and middle finger. And then one hand, open the fingers so they're flush or flat on the floor. Then, keeping the elbow straight, flex over the wrist and push energy into the floor to extend the wrist back to that nice straight line you started with. Repeat, fingers open. Easy does it, over the wrist. That's flexibility. Now add strength to that by pressing in the floor, extending the forearm extensors here. We'll do that one more time where the fingers are open flush. We're over on the hand and we'll push through. And while you can do this on two hands at the same time, I recommend one for now. It can be quite intense. And then we'll push away. We should go right back to those hands in our first plank there, Lauren.
Great.
Cool.
Let's combine our plank with a little elephant position just to lengthen out those hamstrings. So we'll come down, open up the hands, and step back into our plank position. Our plank is on our toes, our hips are up, and we're squeezing our butt cheeks. We're pulling our shoulders down, and we're breathing. Now, pull tight underneath you, hands pulling towards knees, breathing. Now push the floor forward and back, tipping the hips towards the ceiling, lifting them to the sky. Right now, let's bend our knees slightly. Our heels are probably off the floor, our knees are slightly bent. Here, take your tailbone or your hips and anterior tip them to the ceiling. Then stay here, don't change anything, use your abs, and lightly try to tuck them under. Well, that's tricky. Now go back to tailbone, lightly tip to the ceiling. Gently try to straighten your knees, pressing your heels to the floor. Don't do it all at once. Take it millimeter by millimeter. And then you'll rock yourself forward and pull yourself back down into your plank and repeat. Pull the floor together. This time, pull in that cross body tension. So your left hand to your right hip and your right hand to your left hip, and breathe. Then starting at the hips, anterior tailbone to ceiling, hips will lift. Add that little bend in the knees to keep the tip. Then gently try to press one heel to the floor. but prioritize the tip of the hips and then bend that knee and switch. Gently try to extend the other one and then bend. We'll do it one more time. Come back into your plank. Scoop the hips under to connect the ribs to the hips. Breathe, pull in parallel, squeeze. Pull in the X pattern. Pull in parallel, pull in X. Starting at the hips to lift. Let's try to this time keep both legs straightish. Gently, anterior tip, pressing the heels towards the floor. Breathing. And then we'll bend our knees, walk ourselves hands towards feet into our hinge position, and press to standing up nice and tall.
Tally tall, there it is.
Oh,
We're here.
first little hammy.
Yeah, always doing that nice little check-in first. And we'll check in with what time it is, got lots of that still, and we'll check in with that movement clock series as well. Let's do it only to the front here, and we'll do it on the same leg, 2 different ways. So start with the right leg on the floor and pull up the other leg to the low P pose here.
That would be the left.
Then point, I'm on my right.
You said on your right, so the other leg.
The other leg.
I was joking.
Then land toe ball heel.
Wasn't funny apparently.
Then pull the foot backwards and then push forwards to go back. Then pull up to the same pose. Then open the knee side and point. And land toe ball heel. Feel that pull energy to drift and the push energy to return. Then one more time with that leg, knee front, knee side, point, land, straight leg the whole time. Ooh, level hips, and then push through. Now stay standing on your right leg and with your left leg pointed out front. And that right leg will do a single leg squat and then push through. And with that same leg bending and the same leg straight out to the side to tall. And then out to the side, aiming to always keep those hips level and push through. Now we'll switch and do the same thing on the other side. The left leg now does not move, and the right leg absorbs that landing, toe ball heel, and then pushes to come under. Then knee front, knee diagonal, and point, and land, yep, get some spacing, land toe ball heel, and then push to center. Then front and side, and land toe ball heel, and push. And now the leg that stays in the middle does the bending. So that's the left leg does the bend and the right leg never bends the knee. Nice and extended. Try to energize or point through those toes. And for the one last repetition here, out to the side and back under. Nice. Movement clock, front quadrants done.
Excellent. Let's go back to the floor and continue on that core journey where we'll take ourselves walking around the room like a bear. So we'll get to the floor, this time doing our forward fold. Let's pull our shoulder blades together, tuck our chin, lightly flex around forward. As you round here, try to keep the blades together in order to round through the actual rib cage spine. As we go, we're pulling that belly button in, getting up and over. And then once you're down in your forward fold, let those arms dangle a little bit. Breathe. Next, we'll bend our knees. Hands will come down, knees will come down. We'll briefly pattern this crawl with our knees on the floor, and then we'll make it a little harder by hovering. Hands are under shoulders, toes are tucked, knees are under hips, core is braced like a tree trunk. Opposite hand and foot will take a step off the floor, little pause, land. We're going to keep that little pause because it makes your core have to find that stable position and not fall over. One more time in the forward pattern, and then let's reverse it. It's still opposite hand and foot. We're pushing forward to go back. Last 2 steps here. If you had a bowl of water on your back, no spilling. And then just readjust so your hands are back underneath you. Now, before we go forward, hovered off the floor, could we travel sideways? It's the same idea. It's opposite hand and knee, take that step, lift, other side. Repeating for 2 more steps in this direction. They don't have to be big, but again, that bowl of water is still on your back. Let's go back to where we came from. Opposite hand and knee. Create that core tension and stability before you lift off. Last one. Press the floor away for a second. Give those wrists a little shake. If you're okay to continue, either repeat the same thing with your knees down or we'll hover our knees off the floor. And by hover, I really mean hover not far off the floor and try to keep your knees the same distance off the floor the whole time. Forward first. That little pause as we go. Find that stability on 2. Good. Now go backwards for 4 steps. Pushing the floor forward to go back. Trying not to weeble wobble. Last one. Now to the side. Opposite hand and knee, or hand and foot. Returning back underneath you and trying not to tip, and then go back to where you came from. Whew. Last step or so. We'll lift our hips up. We'll walk ourselves back into that forward fold position, tucking your chin, and then using the muscles, engage your abs in your spine to pull up to tall. Head is last to land. Shake that out.
In the back corner there, I might have used my hinge up, and that's okay too. But Lauren's fold cues are great as you want to pull the rib cage down to lift up, but choose the hinge or choose the fold. None of these hybrid species, none of them. None of them.
Finge.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit nasty. But until then, let's continue to work on that movement clock, and we'll work from that bent leg this time. So working with those feet in parallel, let's just get in a little toe squat with the feet flat. Then transfer weight to one leg and point the other out front. Then return that leg underneath and repeat the same exercise on the other side. And there will be a weight shift. Try to disguise it, but don't eliminate it. Now, one more time, take that leg to the front and then just open it to the side. Try to show that inseam forward. Return it to the front and then come back to a 2-foot balance. And then one last time, front on the other side. Open, keep those hips forward and then to the front. Rebend and then push through to finish nice and tall. Let's just shake that out. Let's do that one last time, and just that opening and then closing action back to the side. 2 knees bend, 1 leg straightens. Open it to the side and show me that inseam facing forward. Hold for a second. Breathe. Back to the front. Pull it underneath and repeat on the other side. To the front. Point these toes and grip with your bent leg set of toes, and then bring the leg to the front, underneath, and then push through with a glute squeeze, and then a little bit of a shake and a wiggle. And now it's time to go back to the zoo.
Excellent. The zoo, we're going to explore the amphibian section. Well, I think it's an amphibian. A lizard. Is it amphibian?
I'd have to check the definition of that.
We always end up having to check something after one of these workouts. So let's hip hinge. Walk ourselves out. It seems amphibious. That might not even be a word. In our plank position
Water
here.
and land amphibious?
Yeah. In our plank position, we'll squeeze our butt cheeks and brace our abs. We'll flick the floor away with 1 foot, and we'll bring it up, placing it beside our hand. Right here, we're reaching energy out that front knee. We're reaching energy out that back heel, splitting ourselves, but trying not to drop those hips. Then pull that tension back in and try to lift that front foot off the floor and then place it back. Repeat other side. Flick, lift, hold, place, reach front knee forward, reach back heel back, split yourself. Then pull it back to center, lift, and place. One more time, but with a little extra. And you never know if I really meant one more. Reach away from center, then gently bend the back knee, placing it down on the floor. Let's try to extend our heart chest to the front here with a nice long spine. And then let that front leg open a little bit, knee open to the side, and doing that from that hip socket. Then bring it back to stacked. Let's lift that back knee up off the floor, place that foot back to where you got it, and repeat on the other side. Lift, hold, place down, bend back knee, let the leg open in the femur socket. Then bring it back in, press away, and one last time here for real. Foot comes up, back knee will bend. Right now, try to keep extension, keep that back cheek squeezed, flick the floor away with that back toe, and try to bend your knee as close, get that heel as close to the butt as you can, and then reach the toe down, extend the leg, lift and back, and last time, up, reaching away from center, then pulling it back in to bend the back knee, spine extended, flick, bend, hold, hello hamstring, then extend it, tuck it, lift the knee, place the foot back where you got it, Lift the hips, either fold or hinge. Don't hold.
Ooh, that's better.
Yeah.
That is a better hybrid word, but you're right.
Came up with that.
You're right. Hold. No. Fold or hinge. Try to stay away from the hybrid. All right. A little bit of squat time. How are your hands feeling? That's been a lot of work on our wrists, but we're doing it because this is a nice beginner segue into maybe introducing those handstands in semester 3. So stay tuned. But right now, it's semester 2, week 4 of 6, working on our squats. So bend on one leg, I'll be bending on my right, which means my left will point to the front. Now out front, lift it off the ground. And if we lift the femur or the leg up, it means the hip needs to stay down. Tap the ground and then extend through, finish nice and tall. Then reach that same leg towards the side, just in front of where 9 o'clock would be on a clock face here. And then same thing. If it's confident on the ground, then lift it up, straighten the knee, turn out from the hip, hold for a second, tap, then extend through and pull back. Repeat one more time on each side. To the front.
Sorry, same leg.
Same leg. So one more time to each position, Then lift. So on that bent knee, lift and hold, tap down, extend the hip through, bringing back, and then out to the side, same thing, and flick that floor away. And if the leg is lifting up, it's turned out at the hip, and the hip is down. Tap, pull. Whew. Pretty heavy. Legs are heavy. Time under tension can be heavy. Let's do the same thing. 2 quick reps, other side. Bend on the left in this case for me, reach out front, and lift that right leg. My hip is reaching down as my leg is reaching up. I tap, extend my hip. Then I'll reach that same leg to the side, and then amplify that safe turnout. Keep your breathing, maintain your ribs over your hips, and then tall. And one more time to the front. Hip is low, leg lifts high. Use those quads, use those hip flexors here. Tap and through. And then last time for now, to the side, turn in. Nope, we want to turn out. So then, lift that leg and hold and point through those toes. And then back up to tall. Nice.
All right. One more crawl. Let's take that down into our monkey.
Cool.
It sounds like a great idea.
I like it.
What we have to do here is we have to step into our squat position. We're going to pull ourselves down to your safe low. It might be down here, it might not be. Wherever it is, we'll go a hand, a foot, foot. So it'll be a hand, and then a foot on the landing. What we're trying to do is get as much air time as we can, but take that slow, get baby air first, and then add a little bit more. Let's go back. The other thing we're trying to do is to be soft like a cat. So we're a monkey cat here today. The hybrid species of the amphibians, the camonkeys. Okay, and then you just took that to a new level. But then push down to stand up to tall and give that a little shake. Whew, that was nice.
That is nice. For 3 years, we've been training with you online here in the Bars and Bells studio. And oftentimes we do finish this class with a minute of craziness. For the past couple of weeks, we've gotten away from it. And this is a little bit of a surprise to Lauren, which is even the craziest thing about this whole thing.
Surprise.
But within that minute of craziness, we like to try to hold our handstand for 1 full minute. How do you get into your handstand, Lauren?
I do a tripod entry.
Tripod entry.
I can't even remember. That's all.
Tripod entry. So just as a gentle nudge for maybe that next semester here, Lauren, show us a couple of those handstand entries for yourself.
Sure. Are we doing a minute or just showing?
Just showing. Just showing. We'll have time to show off maybe in a second. So it's been some time, right? Honestly, we haven't done any handstands in studio here since about 4 weeks ago, since the culmination of our last semester. But we're practicing right now, those wrist strength drills, those core strength drills to get it.
Correlates. Whew. Ian prefers the step-in method, so he starts standing tall, one leg out front, arms overhead, already in that hollow shape. And then he takes that step in, getting up and over an imaginary object, to land on the hands. Remember, if you are trying this step in entry, if you attack the floor at a 45 angle, you'll never get your butt over your head. So think up and over.
And over. So would you join us for at least maybe 5 seconds of craziness here, or maybe even 10, and either just hold that high tension plank or crawl around like a amphibious lizard, meeting a monkey in the
Cat,
jungle,
lizard,
cats, you got
elephant.
it. So let's do it. Be safe, start small. Lauren's gonna have a little bit of fun with that kick up, and I'll just try to hold a nice handstand.
Wait, am I kicking up or holding?
Holding.
Oh, okay.
Or kicking up.
Well, you said
It's
Lauren's
crazy.
going to have fun with kick
It's crazy. Do what you want.
Okay.
For 10 seconds, here we go. So a condensed minute of craziness. Let's aim to see what we can do here in a couple reps. Oh,
Synchronized.
pretty much synchronized, but I think if you slow that down, I think I was up there. a
Oh my
second
goodness.
longer. Oh my goodness. We're not competitive. We're our teammates.
You didn't tell me it was a competition until after the competition.
I know. That's how I won it. I wouldn't have won otherwise.
Anyway,
So thank you so much for joining us on this week 4 of week 6 of 6 weeks rather in our Play with Your Strength weekend workout challenges. We enjoy training. I'm feeling tired and good, but also ready to go.
we get back to it all on Tuesday, where it starts with our kettlebell practice, and we're adding each time to our combination of swings, cleans, presses, and squats. So stay tuned for that. On Thursday, we have the bar, but in between then and now, you should like and subscribe on YouTube. Check out our website and our Patreon page. And until next time, take care,
Stay strong.
and we'll train soon.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.